Sorry to start with a pretty basic one. I asked 90, but how did you lose that game?
Still scratching my head a little bit, to be honest. I think I spoke about it half time. I think it's the little bits, right? I think if you don't get the little bits right, they tend to lead to bigger things, which I think it's frustrating, right? It's you come away with nothing when the bare minimum you should come away with is a point, given the control and the dominance for 70 minutes throughout the game. So tough one to take. Frustrating.
With the goals conceded then, I appreciate George's one, maybe a little bit of a freak, or was there more that you could have done with that one?
Yeah, it's probably the lead up to it for me, I think, in terms of getting penned back in for 5-10 minutes, which, again, we have to change that in the group. I think there's a little bit of a history of it, right, in terms of slow start. So I think that I was disappointed with the first 10 minutes, to be fair, as well. I thought we were a little bit passive, first half and second half. I thought we were a little bit passive. We trapped into areas where we wanted to, especially down their left, our right, but then you let them through, which, again, I think, it's frustrating from that point of view. But then around 20 minutes throughout the game, the 2 10-minute slots each start of each half, I thought, just talking to Matty James, it's most control he's felt in a game, which, complete dominance. Again, I think you can see how we're working, the work that we're doing. Of course, given the time that we've been at the club, you can't affect everything. I think you have to start somewhere, and I think what you can see is the level of control we had in the game. The next stages then are how do you turn that control into more chances and clearer chances, so you can put the game to bed. So the bare minimum we should walk away from is a point, which that's probably the bit that hurts.
And the second goal, he's obviously got the wrong side of Zach. Again, is there more, or is it a sort of hopeful ball forward? Like, how did you see that in that situation?
You just have to deal with it. I think, do you know what I mean? Whether it be positionally, whether it be mentally being switched on. I'm not going to single out Zach. Zach was terrific on Wednesday. So again, I think it's a collective where everybody has to be in better positions to deal with it. Body shape, awareness. There's so many factors that go into it, and that's probably the frustration. We score an outstanding goal where we have to work really hard, and execute the game plan terrifically like they did to go and score a goal, and then they don't have to work too hard, right, for there too. So that's probably the frustration from it. But again, I think it's been a really good week in terms of learning a lot about the group. So obviously we had a couple of weeks with the international break, and then we've had 3 games in a week, which when you look at the week, we've had a bit of everything right. So it's been a terrific opportunity this week to, like I said, learn a lot about the lads.
And what would you say your main learnings from it that you would be able to share?
Hey, I'm honest. I'm honest with the lads. I think the big bits is we've got a group of honest lads that want to work hard and they want to compete, they want to do well, they want to learn, they want to get better. They're coachable, as you can see. I think the strides they've made in the short period of time we've been here. I think we have to be tougher. I think that's a big part for me, and a lot of the perception around toughness is the competing and that side of it. It's not that for me. The toughness is around the little actions. So whether it be shifting the ball in 2 touch instead of 3, whether it be the small details in your positional stuff, the intensity to get across the pitch. It's the little bits, and they're the bits that shift the momentum in your favour. So we have to drive a real high standard and make sure that if you want to go on runs in this division, you have to work really hard to earn the right. No one's going to just go and give you games. So do you know what I mean? It's understanding how we do that.
Sorry if I slightly missed out what you said, but do you think you created enough to win the game, or would you have liked to have created more to maybe make that more?
Probably both. I think if you look at, they were 3 shots on target, we were 6, 7, something like that. In terms of course, like I said, the control and the dominance was in areas. It's now a case of how do you turn that into more goal-scoring opportunities, which is difficult. When you force them back into that block and you do such a good job of that, then the byproduct of that is then you've got more bodies in and around that penalty area, which becomes harder. And as a perception, just load it in the box. But we haven't got a big target man to do that too, so it doesn't make sense. So we then have to work really hard. Whether it be 1v1s or it be you see like the cross with Joe sliding people down the side for cutbacks and balls flashed across the box. So we have to work at that, and that, like I said, we've only had two weeks training since we've been here. So to cover the whole of how we do that, it's difficult because again, it's you can rely on people to do it off the cuff, or you can actually create a way of working where you can repeat good over and over again. And that's what the shape does. That's what the positional stuff does. If you see it today, they played the positions at times terrifically, which allows us that dominance. It's then how do you now turn that into chances.
You brought Andy Fireman back into the side, so I just wondered how you felt his performance was.
Yeah, I thought we did really well, especially first half. I thought in terms of drifting inside, and that was part of the reason for him playing. I thought he took up some terrific positions. Especially like I said, if you look at the number of times we went through on little diagonals through them to then attack the opposite side, the goal being one. I thought there were some really good examples of that. So yeah, I thought we did a good job, Andy.
And Mark Sykes again on the left. What was kind of the rationale behind that?
Yeah, we wanted. I think in terms of, I know him and Knighty have a decent little relationship. So again, I think in terms of what was important for us was to get Pringy inside the pitch. So rather than when we played Middlesbrough first half, Rob stepping in on his right foot, we wanted Pringy a little bit lower. So we've got the outlet with a left foot, which again I thought helped. And then it was in the combination of Knighty and Sykesy. So that side of the pitch, we wanted a winger to keep width, which Sykesy did, which allowed the opposite side, George to go and Andy to come in, which the goal's the perfect example of that.
It's massively hypothetical, but in a perfect world, would you have liked to have made more changes for this game?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about it. When I reflect back on the game, I thought the lads that we picked and the lads, did almost an excellent job. But that's the problem. We don't want to be almost. We want to make sure that, like I said, it's a completely different feeling. You come away with a point off the back of the tough week we've had. I think it's and the performances. I think that's the biggest bit for me, analysing and assessing the performance as well as the result. Because I do think if we're able to build on the stuff that you see today, we'll win games. I've got no I'm sure of that. But it's a case of that mindset and that ruthlessness to make sure that we become a team that goes and earns the right to win games.
I see.
Thank you.
It's clearly that you like the play to be spread and use both flanks and the width of the pitch. Would you like a more physical presence in the box if that could be achieved through the transfer market in January?
I think it would help. I think if you look at the impact Ida has coming on, and that's not to say that we need a big target man. I think it's having options and variety. So when you see first half some of the chances we create by sliding things down the side. You need a certain profile of player to do that, and then at times if you do need to go a little more direct and be a bit more physical, you've got that as well. So again,
if not a target man, what sort of striker would give you the variety that you think you need?
No, options. I don't think it's one person. I think it's having different options available to you. So again, I think that's something that we've got those options. We've obviously got Naki missing as well, which brings a different a different option for us from the bench or to start.
But none of them are what you would call a powerful centre forward type. I'm just asking, would you like that as an option?
Well, the challenge is finding them as well, right? I think that, especially when you look at it now, the style of game, how academies are coaching players. There's not too many of those profiles about. So, we're obviously doing our work. We're seeing what's about. But like I said, it's only about getting the right one.
And finally, the Middlesbrough game, you said at half time, beware Middlesbrough are going to come at us, and they scored 2 goals quite quickly in the second half. Today, you've said both halves didn't start quite as well as you want. Is that a problem you see you need to have to address that? Yeah, definitely. I don't think there's any point hiding from it. I think in terms of us being brave, knowing what we need to get better at, it's a real strength. So again, I think I deliberately didn't want to be too positive at half time because again I wanted us to come out a little bit fired up and we have to be better. I think it starts with we've got the level of awareness. It's now having the bravery and the togetherness and that the strategies to make sure that we're able to start second halves better than we have at home recently. Thank you. All good. Thank you.